Question says, with regards to prayer when sick or when ill, how did the Prophet ﷺ offer the salah when he was ill? We say, first and foremost, this is something that we spoke on in our fiqh classes, how to offer the salah when you're ill, when you're sick. Secondly, the religion of Islam is based off of ease and simplicity. Allah tells us to fear Him to the best of our capability. The Prophet ﷺ tells us, whenever I command you to do something, do of it what you're able. فَأْتُوا مِنْهُ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. He says, do what you can. Do what you have the ability to do. So this is every aspect of the religion, let alone the concept when a person is in an extreme situation of sickness and of illness, or when a person is locked up, incarceration. A person cannot face the qibla, cannot stand up, cannot make wudu, and the list goes on. The Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, مَا نَهَيْتُكُمْ عَنْهُ فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ. What I forbid you from, avoid it totally. وَمَا أَمَرْتُكُمْ بِهِ فَأْتُوا مِنْهُ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. And what I command you to do, such as prayer, such as facing the qibla, such as praying on time, such as purifying and cleansing yourself, he says, do what you have the ability to do. فَأْتُوا مِنْهُ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. He says that what you have the ability to do. Everybody understand this? So this is the concept of Islam, let alone the concept of what? Extreme situations. Everybody clear on this? So the ill person is to offer the salah in the manner that's closest and easiest, the manner which is most close to what Muhammad ﷺ did when he was healthy and strong, of standing, facing the qibla, of reciting, of raising the hands, and the list goes on. So therefore, if a person can stand, he should stand. If he cannot stand, then he should sit. If he cannot sit down, it's too painful, he doesn't have the ability, then he should lie upon his side or upon his back. So therefore, the question is, when you sit down, how do you sit down? When you go down, what do you go down, on your hands, on your knees, when you come back up, and etc. Before we get into these issues and these situations, we have to understand is that in Islam, we have issues in which we have specific text, hadith on. Everybody understand this? And then we have issues in which there are no hadith specifically on. We have issues in which there are hadith on, but they may not be the most authentic. We have issues over which the scholars agree, and issues over which the scholars disagree. Everybody understand this? So obviously, whenever we have text, clear, cut, that's what we follow. And then we have an issue in which there is no hadith, there is no clear-cut text. It goes back to the principles, the ijtihad. The scholars, they sat down, they thought, they tried their best to make the most thorough conclusion. So when it comes to the prayer of a person who's sitting down, how do you go down and how do you get up? We say first and foremost, those people, or the concept of going down to sujood is an issue in which the people differ for those who have strength. Men who are strong, do you go on your hands first, your knees first, or do you have the option of doing both? That's a very long issue in Islamic fiqh. Very long issue. It's not a simple issue. Very detailed issue of khilaf. Some of the scholars, they say that it's best to go with the hands first. Others say it's best to go with the knees first. And they're the majority, most of the ulama. In contrast to what many people believe and spread here in America, the majority of the people of hadith, Imam Ahmad, Imam Ishaq, the majority of the people of hadith, the ulama of hadith, most of them went down with their knees first and not their hands. In contrast, we said what? What many people spread, that if you're from the sunnah, the people of the sunnah, you put your hands first. Maybe it may not be this bad in New York, but that's how it was in Philadelphia. If you put your knees first, you weren't upon the sunnah. If someone went to the masjid and they saw people praying with their knees first, they said it's not a Salafi masjid. It's not a masjid of sunnah. Wallahi, you were saying this. Yeah. Unfortunately, that asaf al-shadid, unfortunately. And not only is that incorrect, but it's the total what? Opposite. Most of the people of hadith did what? The exact opposite. That's the problems of ignorance, yani. As the poet says, he says, in kunta la tadri, he says, fatilka musibatun. He says, if you don't know, then that's a calamity, if you're ignorant. And if you know that you don't know, or if you don't know that you don't know, then what? فَالْمُصِيبَةُ أَعْظَمُ. He says it's even worse. When you think that you know, that's even worse. You think that you have ilm, but in actuality you have nothing. That's even worse. May Allah help all of us. Ameen. So the concept of going down on the hands and the knees first, that's an issue of khilaf. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, he said that the scholars unanimously agree that both are permissible. ثُمَّ اخْتَلَفُوا فِي الْأَفْضَلِ. Then they differ over what's best and what's preferable. What is what? Preferable. And the strongest view is that it is permissible to do both. Hands first or knees first. The main difference of opinion among the ulama of the past was what is best. As many of them said the knees were best because it's closer to the ground. And some of them said the hands were best. And the list goes on over how they differ over the hadith of the camel, putting hands first, is it even sahih, etc. Everybody understand this? And similarly, coming up from sujood. How do you come up from sujood? Do you sit jalsa istiraha? Do you come with your hands like this, knuckles? Do you support yourself with your knees and your thighs upon your heels? Everybody understand this? That's also a very long issue of khilaf among the ulama. So we say, when you do offer the salah, what do you do? You have different concepts. First concept is what? Sheikh asked me to demonstrate. First concept is, you're making a salah, you come out of ruku', Sami Allahu liman hamida, Allahumma rabbana laka hamd. We don't get into the other issues, hands, chest, like this, we're not getting into that right now. Everybody understand this? Many Muslims, when they pray, they say Sami Allahu liman hamida and they don't raise their hands. We don't want to get into none of the other issues right now. When I make salah, that's what I do. I come out, Sami Allahu liman hamida, palms facing the qibla, to the earlobes, Allahumma rabbana lakal hamd. Or rabbana lakal hamd, and I put my hands back to my side. We don't get into no other issues. There are many Muslims who do not raise their hands out of ruku'. That's not what Muhammad did. Okay? Some Muslims, but we don't get into that. I don't have, how do I go down to sujood? Do I go down like this? Allahu Akbar. With my knees first? Or do I say Allahu Akbar with my hands first? And then coming out of sujood, do I sit and I pause for a second before I get up in the next rak'ah? Or do I go from sujood, Subhana Rabbi al-Ala, Subhana Rabbi al-Ala, Allahu Akbar, and go right back up? That's one scenario. And then the next scenario is, how do I get up from the sujood? Do I get up like this? What? This is my jilsa, istiraha. Do I do that? Do I do this? Or do I get up like this? Everybody understand this? Then the next concept of those who pray when they sit down. How do you pray when you sit down? Do you pray like this, like you're in jilsa? Put your foot like this. Do you pray like this? Or do you pray sitting cross like this? Or some people say Indian style, quote unquote. You pray like this? Or do you pray with your feet towards the qibla? Or do you pray in a chair? Etc. And when you do pray in the chair, how do you make the salah in the chair? What do you have to do? How do you make ruku'? How do you make ruku'? What is the process of that? Do you make like this? You have to bend down all the way like this? Or do you just move your head? Or move your eyes? Many brothers, when they make salah, they start standing up. When it comes to sujood, then they go and they sit down. And they make sujood and jalsa sitting down. And qiyam, they stand up. And the list goes on of what scenario? And what's the right opinion or the wrong opinion, or what's the best thing to do in a simple view? It's very important for you to have the scenarios in your head clear. Everybody understand this? A lot of times we don't even have this scenario. We don't know. It's very important to do what I just did, to map it what? Map it out. This, that. Make sure you have a full, total conceptualization. And then from there, it makes it easier for you to what? Hey, sort through, make a move. Everybody understand this? They say we playing chess, huh? Look at the entire what? Every square, every possible option, this, that. Then you make a more thorough move instead of just not. Everybody understand this? Is a very important concept of life and of Islamic fiqh as well. Okay, it's breaking down the scenarios. We say is that the hands and the knee thing, we spoke on that already. When you come out of sujood, if you wish to place your hands on the ground and support yourself on your hands, we feel that's what you should do. As it's mentioned in the hadith in Sahih Bukhari. The Messenger of Allah can ya'tamid ala yadayhi, just to place his hands on the ground and support himself. It's a long issue in itself. How do you pray when you sit down? We say, no matter what you do, jilsa, cross, fort, yani like this, it's all simple. And there's no one determining way which is necessarily the only way. They're all optional. And perhaps, I personally feel that the closest way is sit as if you're in jilsa. Sit as if you're in jilsa, because that's a natural position of the salah. And after the jilsa salah, sit mutarabbi'an, your legs crossed, or Indian style. Everybody understand this? That's what I would say, me personally. As far as when you're offering the salah, sitting down, what do? Then I know, rahimahullah, and others have mentioned, that when you make ruku' and when you make sujood, your head should be at least past where your shoulders are. Because your shoulders standing up, you standing up, straight up, you're representing what? Qiyam. So there should be some difference between your qiyam and your ruku', let alone your sujood. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to bend down all the way like this. Doesn't necessarily mean that. But if I'm standing here, this is qiyam. Allahu Akbar, my ruku' should be, my head should at least pass what? Where my shoulders were. And sujood a little bit more like this. According to what's easy and what's simple, no hardship. If you can, you may not be able to do that. If you just move with your head or your eyes, do what you have the what? Ability to do. So the whole entire concept of the salah, of the ill, of the sick, is only based off of simplicity and ease, period. Simplicity and ease. And as for that, you have specific text on, then we specifically follow. We don't have specific text on, we what? It's open according to what's closest to the natural way. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Clear, Sheikh? Alhamdulillah. Any other questions, brothers, before we stop?
In the same position, the brother asked, when you go to sujood, you can put your hand forward and come down.
Okay.
When you're sitting, push it forward.
When you're making sujood,
right.
From jilsa, yes. The hands should touch first.
Right.
No.
Sitting.
When you're sitting
in the chair.
and you go like this, and you do that.
I'm sitting in a chair.
Right, and for sujood, you push his hand out and goes right.
Yeah.
No. That's yani la. Because he's mixing and he's forging and he's melting 3 positions in one. He's sitting down, half, too much. Keep it simple. Plus that's a hardship on one's back. That's more difficult than the original sujood. If you can do all that, then
So you go like this, then you go like this.
just a little more, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to go with the hand.
No.
Okay, so
That's a
this-
hardship.
So
Without
you
a
go
doubt.
like this, and then you that.
No. And Allah knows best. As for this,
Don't fall.
I wasn't gonna fall. I'm just saying that no. Some people they do that. Allah doesn't want us to punish ourselves.
Long stop.
Allahu Alam. Allah knows best. Any other questions before we stop? Jazakumullah khairan, brothers. Thank you for your time. Allah knows best. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. We ask Allah to teach us that which is beneficial and allow us to benefit from that which He has taught us. Ameen. ربنا علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم سبحانك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Next Sunday, same time.